What happens when Jake Stapleton, a dude in his 20s, advertises for a roommate and the devil, in the form of a sexy middle-aged woman, answers the call? That's the premise for Laurie Stevens' Kindle Vella serial, The Devil and Daniella Webster. Welcome, Laurie, to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. It's so great to see you today.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy. It's an honor to be in the Blackbirds, and I'm sorry, you're gonna see another guest, Jasper, my cat, my white cat. And yeah, thank you for having me on. Like I said, it is an honor to be in the Blackbirds. It's a great group of writers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Led by someone very good.
Well, thank you. So Laurie, you're also the author of the Gabriel McRae series, mystery series. And I know you have other projects in the works that we'll talk about later. But so The Devil and Daniella Webster are on Kindle Vella. Tell us a little bit about this story's origin and why you chose to publish it this way.
Okay, it was an idea that just wouldn't leave my mind. I'm working on another novel, and then got another novel that I'm trying to get out for submission. And this Devil and Daniella Webster just kept, it's like one of those things, and as a writer, when you can't shake something, you just have to cave in, right? And I thought I ought to go with it. And once I started writing the story, and the way I work is, I write a little paragraph, beginning, middle, and end. So I know about what's going to happen. And I just wanted to write this one on Kindle Vella because I'd heard of it. And because this book is not written yet, I thought, okay, let's put it as a serial and I'll write it as I go along, which is really dangerous for a writer to decide to do. But I thought, okay, because, nothing happens with it, nothing happens, but I'm going to do an experiment.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Kindle Vella hosts like open-ended stories. And so like right now, I think you have 8 chapters.
Yes.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. What Kindle Vella does is you release a story. It's serial. So you release an episode at a time, and the first 3 episodes are free to get people interested. And then they can choose to buy tokens, and it doesn't cost a lot. The tokens, I think they end up being like 30 cents or something. So you end up paying some, cents on a chapter kind of thing. And the author will write a story that's broken up into episodes of anywhere from 600 to 5,000 words. And the writer posts those individually as different episodes. And what you can do as the reader is, if you like an episode, you can give it a thumbs up, and that lets the author and other readers know that you liked it. And I'm trying to think of something else. If you unlock episodes, it's either the reader or the writer receives what's called a fave, and that lets other readers of that genre know that the book exists. So, and like everything with Amazon, the more thumbs up someone gets, the more they put it up there on their algorithm and get it moving.
Oh, yeah.
But they have given me some bonuses. I don't know how or why, maybe just because, but I've gotten monetary bonuses from them. Again, I wish I could tell you why, but that's cool. Yeah, I think they're trying to take away the market share from things like Wattpad and Radish. And you mentioned Patreon earlier. I'm not familiar with Patreon, but I've heard of Radish. Wattpad, yeah.
Yeah, I know Wattpad. I don't know. I'm not sure if Patreon does the similar thing. I know somebody who is writing serials and making money from it, as people like it or whatever, or they want more chapters. But then in like some of those other platforms, you can vote, or you can like help direct the story. And I noticed that at the beginning of your book, you had like some questions at the end of the first chapters. Do you want this to happen or this to happen?
Well, you can offer the readers a poll.
Yeah.
And if anyone, responds, you can either go with it or maybe address them and say why you would or you wouldn't. I know with Wattpad, it's really very seamless between the writer and the readers. There's that dialogue that's open. With Kindle Vella, it's not, unless you do a poll, I don't know how you're going to hear from your readers unless they leave you a review. It's not a writing process per se. It's a, like, in other words, you're not asking for anyone's opinion unless you're putting up a poll like I did.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just saying, here's an episode, here's the next episode, and you're leaving little cliffhangers, hoping that the people will watch it like people used to do with soap operas in the
Right.
when the dinosaurs walked the earth, right? They still
Right.
have soap operas.
I think they do.
Well, they have
Somebody watches
episodics
them.
now. Now they have episodics.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be like a televised episodic. This is the literary version,
Right.
which I think is kind of cool,
Or
and why I wanted to do it.
my husband talk about dinosaurs. He brought up the radio shows used to do that.
Yes, yes. Back in the day before the internet. Oh my God. Did we exist?
No, I
Did
don't
we
think
exist
so.
before cell phones? Yeah, funny.
Yeah.
But I think that this is it's a little different from Wattpad and Radish in that way.
Mhm.
And it's not, unless the author is putting that poll out at the end of every episode and somehow having a dialogue with the readers. I think it's more like, this is your soap opera, tune in next week kind of thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about this story a little bit. Jake Webster's mother passed away and he's missing his mama. He's low on cash and friends and things to do. So let's talk about this character.
Okay. Again, when I was writing this, I had this sort of inspiration that I wanted to paint the devil in a different light and involve the devil in a trick. Not so much the devil's playing the trick, but someone else is playing a trick on the devil. So Jake's character just started taking shape as I started writing him. I wasn't even quite sure how old I wanted him to be.
Mhm.
And then it just, that's what I like about Kindle Vella, actually. It's allowing me to have this very organic process, and I'm not under a big spotlight. So I'm able to do it and just sort of see if it works, which is about as raw as you can get as a writer. But talking about Jake, he would have been a classic case of a failure to launch if his mother had lived. But she dies of cancer. You don't see it, but he's a little bit lost. He's lost. He's a little afraid. He's afraid definitely with women. He's afraid to put his confidence out there and get a better job. He's got a best friend named Tony Muscarella, and Tony is a mama's boy too, and is lived down the street, but Tony's mother is alive. And in order to keep the house that was him and his mother's, Jake has to get a boarder. He has to rent out a room, and the devil answers his ad for a roommate.
Yes, in the form of Daniella Webster.
Yeah, and she's a middle-aged woman. I was picturing someone like, and maybe a little bit of older Nicole Kidman or a Leslie Mann, a woman that is, in her late 40s, but still really, a nice looking woman. And I don't know, do you want me to talk about Daniella?
Yes, please. Well, she seems at my first read, she seemed a little bit like a cougar or something,
Yeah, because she's good looking. She's hot, and she's also the devil. So
Right.
she doesn't care. She's got appetites,
Mhm.
and she's not afraid to show them, which I kind of thought, this is kind of an interesting way that I could empower women a little bit. Not that you want women to be the devil, because
No.
we get enough of that, especially from men. But the fact that she says whatever she wants to say, And you don't expect that from a nice middle-aged woman who should be a mom or a grandma by this time, you just don't expect that. And yet so I looked at her as a little bit of a bra burner in this way, in a way.
Yeah.
But she's the devil and her powers are really immense. But like any being that has too much power, she gets bored, and what she calls fun, we call catastrophe, but she does need a break from hell and comes to Denver.
Mhm.
And she answers Jake's ad with the idea that she's just going to take a break. And she doesn't want to be bothered. Only the thing about Daniella is that she is a fallen angel, which means she has the capacity to act and feel like an angel, although she fights against it the whole book. But there's something at work here between her and Jake, which I'm sure you can probably guess.
I'm not. No, I couldn't guess.
Oh, good.
I'm going to be surprised.
Then actually my twist may really work as a twist, at this point.
Don't tell me.
Because the book isn't complete. I mean, really, I'm writing this as I go along. I know where I want it to go, but I just have no feedback. There's no group of beta readers that are reading an entire novel.
Critique partners or, yeah. So you're not running by like a critique group or anything before?
No. I know, it's nuts. I don't even know why I decided to do that. It's a little crazy. My friend who has edited all my books and she's an English teacher. She's really good, and she's really good with context. And then I have two other writers, Kim Fay and Connie DeMarco. They're both excellent writers, and they've always read like my series and my books, and they offer really good context editing. Mm-hmm. I can't give it to them because I would have to say, can you read this within 3 days? And how can you say that to an editor? Read this within 3 days and get back to me, because my whole thing is just putting it on. So what I'm doing, and I almost hate to admit it, is I'm running it through Grammarly just to make sure, even though my English teacher editor friend yelled at me and said, just let me read it. Just send him to me and I'll read him within a week. And then, I'll give him back. So maybe I'll start doing that, because she was just like, you have to be out of your mind. But hey, Tracy, you're an author. You're reading it.
I am.
So far, it hasn't like repulsed you.
No, no, not at all. I mean, it's really kind of intriguing, and the characters are good. And I'm really like curious, where is this going?
It's definitely going somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that part, I would never tell anyone to do this. Actually, Amazon Kindle encourages authors to write as they go along. They said, try not to have a finished novel and just break it up into pieces, because you'll lose that serial kind of, what's going to happen next. And who knows, if you have a complete novel and you decide to break it up, if those chapter breaks are going to be cliffhanger enough. Maybe you were counting on that someone's in the rhythm of your book and they're just going to keep reading your book. That doesn't happen in a serial. And so I thought that was very interesting, that in all of the little blogs and threads that I've read about Kindle Vella, because I did do a little homework, they all said that they didn't recommend you putting a finished novel on there, but they want to encourage that organic process. Yeah. And even like with Wattpad, get the reader involved if you can, through your polls or questions, or even at the end of every serial, the author can post a little something like, this is where I think it should go, or what do you think of this? And then the readers can get back to you if you want. I've been actually afraid to ask that. So
why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I have a question then too. How do you advertise it? How do you let people know that it's there?
Well, Jasper.
Kitty.
Telling you, ham. I first did it on with my email list, my own email list. And then now I've just been putting it out on social media. And the other thing, when you talk about marketing, is like you and I had discussed earlier, I just gotten on TikTok. I'm not, I don't know. I'm going to be on the fence of this one. I'm not giving any opinion at this point, but I do enjoy making little videos. And so I've decided that I'm going to start with this one, really going into like the book trailer, book video, do odds and ends, like things that might even not be remotely related to the book, and just sort of start flooding Facebook and the social media outlets with that. Because you can't go to a bookstore with this.
No.
You can't, the only thing you can do is just entice people to come in and read the first episodes free, because the first 3 episodes are always free on Kindle Vella. So just keep that in mind. So you'll want your first 3 episodes to at least start attracting people into the book.
Yeah, they need to hit with a bang. Right.
That's not hard to do, though. I really, because look, you can't even get an agent or get published unless your book immediately grabs someone. So
right.
It's what we writers are having to deal with at all times. Maybe back in the 1800s, they could have taken a little more time, but I don't know.
So maybe you can answer this question too, because when I was reading your book, it shows up on my Kindle reader and I read on my phone.
I do too.
But but when I went back to it on my Kindle app, it wasn't there.
On the Kindle app, you have to go to Kindle Vella first.
Okay.
You have to bring up Kindle Vella first. You can't just go to Amazon Books, which could be a flaw actually with Amazon. I didn't think of that before, but it might be a flaw, because I've noticed also that if you go to books and you bring up the title, it doesn't come up. But if you go to Kindle Vella, it comes up right away.
I searched for it on Amazon and I found it right away.
You did?
Yeah.
Because I tried, I couldn't find it. So then I went, okay, Kindle Vella. And then I found it.
And then it came up.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So maybe Amazon needs to work out a few kinks.
Yeah. And also when I tried to get it to join my Author Central, it opened up a whole new Author Central for me. And I'm like, no. I just want to link this book to my other books. So I finally had to write Amazon and alert them to the problem. So I think this is a new thing, although there's writers having really good success on it already, but it's relatively new. And maybe they are still just trying to work out all these kinks. Yeah. I didn't want to get a whole new page just for someone writing on Kindle Vella. And
right.
So,
and I've found out too, I mean, because I indie publish, that there are certain circumstances where you do have to contact Amazon, to manage like your categories and keywords and things like that too. There are situations where you have to reach out, that they're not just going to allow you to use a certain number of categories. For example, you can always ask for more and that kind of thing. So maybe it's sort of like that. They want to be in communication with people. I don't know.
I don't know. I just think that they're maybe still trying to work out some glitches.
Yeah. What advice would you give to authors who want to try it?
What advice? I would say, well, how dangerous do you want to be? How dangerous do you want to live? You don't have to do what I did, what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing for selfish reasons. But maybe you do have a novel that you want to break apart and you think would be perfect for Kindle Vella. It's already edited. It's already been, had a million pairs of eyes on it. Then go ahead and put it up as a serial. It's a different kind of read than a novel, in my opinion. And I think that's why it would probably be better to write something entirely new for Kindle Vella, with the idea that it's a serial. Like think in terms of it being an episodic.
Yeah. Well, I know authors who do that kind of thing on their own websites, like with a blog or whatever, or they, every week they post a new chapter to a story that they're writing. So, but it might be a better way to actually make money from your writing or, get more exposure, right?
I just think, this world we live in is all about how many clicks you get, right? And the more your name is out there in whatever format, out in the cyber world, I don't think it can hurt. You can do that on your website, but why not do it on Kindle Vella? And trust me, I'm not a walking ad for Amazon. It's, but at the same time, it's there. You can take advantage of it. Or you could go on Wattpad. Authors get monetized on Wattpad. But then again, to me, that seems more like a dialogue between reader and author. Like, I want you to do this with your book, or I love this character and I would love you to do this with this character, or get them to fall in love, and you have to, if you're open to that and your writing is very fluid, you should probably go on Wattpad. But if you sort of already have a story in mind, I think TikTok is a good place. I'm doing it. I feel like I'm honing my skills.
TikTok or Vella?
I'm sorry, Vella.
Yeah.
I've got TikTok on the brain because we were talking about those videos. And that's an interesting, it's like, do you do Vimeo or do you do TikTok? Vimeo you have to pay for, TikTok you don't, but Vimeo you can put on other things without having a TikTok watermark.
Yeah.
Because we had talked about how I want to advertise this, and I think I'm going to do videos.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just to me, I'm feeling videos with this one.
Cool. Well, and that would definitely attract the younger readers.
Yeah. Or, if I put them on Facebook, it's not going to attract young readers, but yeah. It's, I think it's a fun thing to do. And I would tell every writer to try it. It's going to sharpen your skills.
Yeah.
It's got to.
Yeah, I would think. So let readers know where they can find you and maybe what you're working on next. Okay.
Well, you can always go to lauriestevensbooks.com. That's my website. And it's Laurie, Laurie, Stevens with a V, and books. Or go to Kindle Vella and put in the Devil and Daniella Webster. And the reason that I chose that title, obviously there's a very famous book called The Devil and Daniella Webster, but I put the Devil and Daniella Webster, again, it was just one of those things that came up, and the devil makes reference to the book in my book. So, yeah. And you wanted to know what I'm working on?
Yeah.
Okay. I just finished sort of a high-tech book. I didn't anticipate it to be young adult. It's a little bit science fiction, and it's what happens in the world about 75 years from now, when we're completely dependent on automation and artificial intelligence is running everything. We don't have to think. We don't have to. In fact, all of us would have an implant in our brains. So there's no carrying around cell phones anymore. This implant and all the technology that's in the book that they're working on is real. And what all I did was, after a year of research, I've just put everything that I found out into practice. So it's already a thing.
Wow.
And it's what happens when all the power goes out forever. And human beings have to start over again.
Oh, interesting.
And it's called The Return. And hopefully it will be out next year.
Yeah.
Early next year.
Well, we'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me, Laurie. And you can find more videos on blackbirdwriters.com. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.